friends and fellow book enthusiasts. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 books that have had a very meaningful impact on my life or changed my life's perspective, or in short, have changed my life. These books are not necessarily my all-time favorite books, but they have stuck with me in a way that's more significant than others. To quote the ever-wise Kathleen Kelly of The Shop Around the Corner, what we read becomes a part of us somehow. And this is in no way limited to self-help or non-fiction. It can be applied to all literary genres. And as such, my 5 books, I think, span quite well a wide variety of literary genres. And as is with most things, with reading, you get out of it whatever you put into it. The books that I'm going to share with you, I think, are widely impactful and can be valuable to any and everyone, but they have significantly impacted my life because of my life circumstances and experiences, or because I read them during a point in my life when I was particularly in need of their teachings or lessons. And so, if you do choose to read any of these books, I hope that you find them helpful and impactful. I don't know if you'll find them as meaningful or life-changing as I did, but I'm excited to share them with you. And also, I would love for you guys to share any of your life-changing books that you've read or your favorite books in general. So, without further ado, let's get into it, friends. The first book that I'm going to talk about is The Crossroads of Should and Must: Find and Follow Your Passion by Elle. And this book is many different things in one piece. It is an illustrated art piece. There are so many beautiful illustrations and vibrant colors all throughout that really help emphasize the purpose of this book, as well as provide a deeper emotional connection that you can't get with words. Basically, within our lives, over and over and over again, we approach crossroads. Or maybe they're more familiar to you as big decisions or turning points within our lives. But essentially, there comes a time when we must choose to go one way or another with our life path. And Elle describes this as the crossroads of should and must. Elle describes should as how other people want us to live our lives, and must is who we are or what we believe and what we do when we are alone in our most truest version of ourselves. So our shoulds are kind of our received narratives, or the stories we tell ourselves or that we're told growing up, and are basically outside perspectives of how our life should be, and are based on the expectations of others, whether it's your parents or family or society's expectations. Whereas must is our heart's true desire, if you will, or perhaps our most impossible dream. It's the little voice inside of our head that knows us best and is trying so hard to gently nudge us in the right direction. I think that must is our gut feeling. And throughout the book, Elle helps you to identify your must if you have no idea what your must is or what your dream is or what it is that you should do with your life. She provides several different activities and writing prompts to follow to help you get clearer on your life path. And then also provides what I found to be kind of a therapy to help you acknowledge your shoulds that you've grown up with and give you the confidence and courage to let go of them. I can remember the day that I found this book. I was at Powell's and very, very miserable in my life. I was in a job that was absolutely terrible, and I was trying desperately to move up within that job or move on in some way, shape, or form. I was totally broke financially, didn't have very many friends, and really didn't like myself. And I can remember finding this book in the bookstore and sitting down at a table there and reading even just the first few pages and crying. It impacted me so much, and it was on that day that I remembered my childhood dream or what it was that I really, really wanted to do. This book gave me the courage to pursue videography and YouTube and the wonderful world that has come with it all. And to wrap up my summary of this book, I think that this quote says it best, and Elle must have agreed because it's near the end, but it's by philosopher Howard Thurman, and it says, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive." It's so good. This book changed my life. Following in the kind of self-help domain, but also the last book of these 5 that is self-help, is You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. I have read this book, I think, 5 times. I first found it while still in college, and I have read it every single year since then. I think that this book is a great introduction into self-help because it is a funny book. I think that a lot of times if you have not read self-help, it can seem a bit woo-woo, for lack of a better word, but Jen Sincero makes it very approachable and funny even. It's the most fun that I've ever had reading a self-help novel. So in this book, Jen walks you through kind of understanding your current life circumstances and how you got there through learning how to love yourself despite your life circumstances, and also figure out what it is you'd like to do with your life. She guides you through improving your relationship with money if money is something that you struggle with, and also just helps you to have confidence embracing who you truly are. I would say that this is less career oriented and more just be who you are, love yourself, have confidence in what you're doing, and recognize that you can do anything you want in life. So very practical, very funny, and super eye-opening, honestly. I'd say that the biggest thing that I learned from this book is that I shouldn't take life so seriously, or that there are no rules or ways that I should be. I know that's very abstract, but basically, I used to live with a lot of fear. The fear of what other people thought of me, the fear of not being perfect at what I did. That sounds very egotistical, but I do think that the fear of imperfection held me back from trying a lot of different things. The fear of admitting and being who I truly was in an environment that didn't necessarily encourage me to be that version of myself or to take up space. And then also the fear of making money, because I grew up with money being a struggle, or the desire to have more money being something that was not good or shameful. So I had a lot to work through, and I have continued to work through those things each and every single year as I read You Are a Badass. So definitely recommend. Okay, now I'm going to totally change up the literary genre, and the next book that has changed my life is Devotions by Mary Oliver. This is a collection of poetry from all of her collections of poetry over the years, and I know Devotions has a spiritual or religious connotation, but I would not describe this poetry as religious, and maybe lightly spiritual in the relationship that Mary Oliver has with nature. But if you are not a religious or spiritual person, do not be scared off by the title of this collection. It's going to be difficult to describe how this has changed my life exactly, but I'll begin by saying that when I first picked up Mary Oliver's poetry, actually a friend gifted me a collection of her poems for my birthday, and if not for that gift, I would have never picked up Mary Oliver's works, because I did not think that I could ever enjoy or like poetry. Mary Oliver sparked that love, and I think that her poems made me feel seen in a way that I had not experienced before. In her poetry, Mary Oliver writes of nature and her relationship with and connection to nature. She writes of the human experience, whether it's pain, suffering, and loss, or joy, love and a sense of belonging in a way that I just find so very relatable and therapeutic. Reading her poetry each morning is so comforting, and it helps me to worry less, or the problems in my life seem so much more insignificant after I read her poetry, because Mary Oliver has this way of getting to what's most important, or reminding me of the things that really matter in life, such as love and simple joys, sunrises, bird songs, and living with purpose, and everything in between and of the sort. So Mary Oliver's Devotions has changed my life. Alright, for my next book, I think I'm going to lose any men that are currently watching this video. However, 90% of my YouTube community is actually female or other, so I hope that any of you will find this book helpful, and it is Woman Code by Alisa Vitti, or perhaps Alisa Vitti. This book is essentially a guide to understanding your hormones and how to naturally balance them in a way that will positively impact your health. So many facets of your health. In fact, the imbalance of hormones is the cause of so many ailments or discomfort or stressful things in relation to our health, such as acne or stress and depression, bloating or hair loss. Just a very extensive list of these types of ailments can be improved, if not entirely healed or fixed, by balancing out your hormones. So in detail, Alisa outlines different hormones and what specifically they regulate. She then describes the menstrual cycle and the different phases of the cycle and which hormones are at play throughout the different phases. And then perhaps most importantly, how to regulate and balance your hormones through the phases and just in your lifestyle in general. She also has this incredibly helpful section that outlines different ingredients or chemicals to look out for in beauty products, specifically like lotions and soaps and makeup that we are applying daily, and that can be really harmful or negatively impact our hormones. She also lists really good remedies for body complaints, such as skin breakouts and bloating and low blood sugar and things of that sort. And she includes this entire medicinal foods for hormonal symptoms section, which is so helpful. I could go on and on. Clearly, I've gained a lot from this book. So if naturally balancing your hormones is something you're interested in, I highly recommend reading The Woman Code. I find naturopathic medicine absolutely fascinating. And lastly on my list of 5 books that have changed my life is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I hope it's okay that I've included this on my list, but when I think about the books that I have read and those that have had the biggest impact on my life, I can't help but feel that Harry Potter has had a huge, like a very significant impact on my life. I actually did not read Harry Potter until I was in college. I tried so many times before college to get into the series and I just couldn't, believe it or not. But when I finally did read the Harry Potter series, I fell in love with reading in a way that has totally shaped my adult life. If I had not read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I would not have this YouTube channel. I would not be who I am. I would not have fallen in love with reading. I would not have found myself late one Tuesday night roaming a bookstore in which I was fated to find the crossroads of should and must. In fact, I do not think that I would have read any of these books if I had not first read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And Harry Potter opened up my eyes to the ways in which fiction can help you to connect with humanity and see the world through a totally new perspective in ways that nonfiction books perhaps can't. This story is about a teenage wizard boy, but it's also about so very much more. It's a story about not belonging in a place where you should very much belong. The only place, in fact, that you should be able to entirely rely on belonging, and I'm speaking of family. Specifically, Harry's only living family, the Dursleys, but then finding where you truly belong through realizing who you truly are. Harry learns that he's a wizard and finds a new home at Hogwarts and a new family in the friends he meets there. I think that in life, or maybe it's human nature, for us to want to belong. We all want to belong. We want to matter to someone or someone's. We want to be accepted for who we truly are, and we want to be loved. Not just loved by others, but to experience true self-love, I think, is perhaps a rare, difficult thing for some, for many, for me. So yes, I owe much of my love for reading, for books, for stories, for characters, for literature, for any genre. I owe much of it to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or to J.K. Rowling. And to conclude this video, I just want to say that no matter your life circumstance, you are more than enough. Even if you don't have your life entirely figured out at the moment, everything is going to be okay. It is perfectly acceptable to not have things figured out. Or maybe if you feel like you've fallen short of others' expectations, you are more than capable of achieving your dreams, and you absolutely deserve to enjoy your life. So believe in yourself, O wondrous you. Cheers, friends.